Ukraine versus Russia, impact on Europe. The world community right now is the most concerned about one conflict that has come about of late, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which has had far-reaching consequences beyond the involved borders. There is an urge to stop this war, as this war is not just affecting Russia or Ukraine, but is having both short-term and long-term impacts on the world community. The region suffering greatly due to this conflict is Europe, as it is neighboring this side of conflict, and undoubtedly, the noise of parties disturb the aunts next doors. What's up folks, I hope you're doing all good. In today's video, we'll be looking at the Russian invasion of Ukraine and how has it impacted Europe. So watch this video till the end to comprehensively gain information about the recent happenings. But before we dig into the video, do subscribe to our YouTube channel for more informative and amazing content like this, and don't forget to save us by the bell next to the subscribe button. Now with all that explained to you, what are we waiting for? Let's dive in. The Russian invasion. Russia invaded Ukraine on 24th of February 2022 to unhinge and topple the government in order to put an end to Ukraine's desire of joining the Western countries' alliance of NATO. However, the war unleashed by Russia didn't have favorable impacts on Russians. So far, yet has become a global threat in many ways, as this war has more than one type of potential threats to the world. After Russia realized how it had failed to disarm the government in Ukraine 1 month into the attack, the Russians changed their course of action and declared their move in order to liberate the Donbas region of Ukraine. Multiple attacks, airstrikes, bombing, shelling, missile launching, and all sorts of other militant methods have been espoused since then, and Russia surely has done a great deal of damage to Ukraine, but at the same time has not yet accomplished any of its ambitions. It is of no doubt that due to the war, Russia has also suffered a great deal of loss too, in not just one but many ways. This war has unified countries against Russia in order to demonstrate condemnation of its actions and have it turned several countries in favor of Ukraine, though Ukraine could not become a part of NATO either. The war has affected both the countries with major loss in Ukraine being in terms of people killed, land destroyed, bloodshed, etc. On the other hand, Russia has been affected in the worst way from the political, economic, and growth perspective. Russian trade has nearly halted as countries across the world have mostly cut off their trade with Russia, which has severely hurt the Russian economy as exports have decreased, lowering their current account surplus. Although Russia is still economically connected to the European states, as trade is continuing there, as several European countries rely on Ukraine and Russia, given that these two countries are mass commodities producers. Russian stock markets have fallen, which has devalued the ruble greatly. Investments have been withdrawn due to the uncertainty in the market. Companies like IKEA, McDonald's, Visa, and MasterCard have withdrawn from Russia, which has projected the Russian economy to shrink by 15%. The effect in Europe. Europe is the neighboring region of the two countries in conflict. As aforementioned, that these two nations are major commodities producers, they being in war has also greatly impacted the European countries relying on their imports. Energy, goods, and other vital products from the countries in conflict is not reaching the European countries in the normal way, as the conflict has disrupted the trade. Given that the goods supplied by Russia and Ukraine to the European states is not produced locally in those European countries, it is hard for those European states to cope with this loss, as they now have to take rather expensive importing routes, which has increased inflation greatly in the countries. Oil supplies from Russia have halted, and which is why there is an overall significant increase in the inflation in the affected European countries. With inflation rising, value of income is decreasing due to it. This is harshening the European environment greatly, and survival is getting tougher day by day. Organizations such as the IMF and World Bank have also released their statistics that global economic growth has been affected severely due to this conflict. It is also a fact that if oil supplies to Germany from Russia are cut, this will invite another big wave of inflation in Europe, which will further empower the halting in the economic growth. So, Europe remains in stress due to these similar factors. Countries in Europe were just navigating themselves out of turmoil caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and with that not fully done, this conflict is icing on the cake for the European countries given the issues they're facing, such as an influx of refugees seeking refuge in the neighboring countries, and Europe's dependence on Russian gas has just made it badly helpless. The European states have been brought to at the brink of a dramatic economic turmoil. All of the heads of states of the affected European countries have agreed to end their dependency on the imports from Russia, which acts as feeding the Russian war efforts. Yet, the course of action is definitely going to be tougher, with the following proposed as the ways to end their dependency. Diversification of supplies, energy efficiency, acceleration of renewables, diversification of supplies. The European Union plans to change its trade route by adapting to the existing situation. They plan to do it by importing LNG from other suppliers such as the US, Qatar, Africa, Norway, and other producers. This way they'll be able to cope with the crisis and gradually battle the inflation which has created havoc in the economies. Yet it will be good for the European states to look for an alternative to the gas supplies from Russia, but it must be done swiftly in order to effectively encounter the crisis. The other side of this plan has a whole new set of challenges for the European states to face, and those challenges include the lack of infrastructure in the European states to deal with LNG supplies. Facilities seem to be in Spain, yet not at all in other countries such as Germany. On top of that, these countries are not connected via the pipelines, and hence, they will need to develop and implement a totally new infrastructure to battle the crisis, and all of this must be done as an urgent priority. Energy efficiency. European states must save energy in order to reduce its dependence upon the gas, coal, and oil supplied by Russia. This can be done in many ways with initiatives that may contribute, such as Go Green, use of electric cars, and all other sorts of energy efficiency proposals in full swing. However, as mentioned before, all of this may seem an easy way out to battle the crisis, but the dark, bitter side to this entire traumatizing story is that whatever is being done or will be done must be done as soon as possible for that, and a more effective and efficient, reliable course of action must be contemplated. This has put the entire European Union heads of states, organizations, and administration to a test. Processes that enable and encourage the use of renewable energy must be hastened, as this will greatly contribute in reducing the dependence of the affected states on Russia. Another worry for Europe. Whatever Russia has done is simply due to its technological, militant, and economic supremacy. Had its military not been so superior, none of this invasion would have taken place anytime soon. Yet, Russia is capable militarily and technologically to pose a threat or act as a deterrent to any country, including the US, given Russia is a superpower. This creates another worry for the European states to deal with. They must flourish and empower their defenses and military in all ways to prevent Russia from easily invading into any of their countries anytime soon. This again would require a great deal of financial strength, which these affected European states are greatly lacking right now, and hence they are currently convicted multidimensionally by this crisis. Lastly, one of the major issues the neighbors of the countries in conflict are facing is in terms of accommodating an influx of refugees. These European states are already so much affected by the entire conflict that it is already a major challenge for them to battle the surge in inflation and provide their citizens a smooth survival as before, and with additional refugees coming into these countries, conditions are worsening for these countries. The entire situation seems very unpredictable right now, with no clue of which side the elephant would lay. Yet, the conflict has severely affected the European states, and they must take immediate action to encounter and navigate themselves out of this mega crisis that has more than one dimension. What do you think? How will the situation change from here, and will it continue as it is right now for some time? Share your thoughts and answers in the comment section below, as this would broaden the understanding of everyone. With that being said, this video comes to an end. I hope you found this video way too helpful and informative. Do subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to stay tuned for more amazing and relevant content. See you with another great video.